Welcome to the Business Titans podcast, where we talk everything to do with growing and scaling your business. I'm your host, Oscar Chavez, and I have interviewed and I've brought to you some really exciting people like Janine Alice, who's on Shark Tank, Steve Baxter, who's on Shark Tank. We've brought to you Howard Berg, who's the Guinness World Record in speed reading and learning. Brought to you David Garrow, who is a Pulitzer award-winning journalist. We've brought you Mel Gibson, who, I mean, everybody knows Mel Gibson, Passion of the Christ, Braveheart, those types of things. Now, through these experiences and what I do in my day-to-day operations, I wanted to bring to you today the top 6 reasons for CEO failure. That's right, I'm going to talk to you about it right here. And these are the only 6 reasons. In fact, if you get these 6 things right, then your life will absolutely skyrocket. So if you're out there trying to build a business, you're trying to go to the next level, you're trying to do something meaningful in your life, meaning you're trying to build wealth for you and your family, and hopefully in that process you become a better person and give more to your community, then this video is really going to help you understand exactly what you need to do in order to make sure that you do not fail. And you know the numbers, you can look at them yourself. Most CEOs, most businesses fail. And so in this video, we're going to talk about how to avoid that. So number 1 is the tendency to grow stale in the saddle. So as Donald Hambrick of Pennsylvania State University argues, long tenured CEOs tend to grow stale in the saddle. Research from Harvard Business Review shows that the longer a leader stays in the top job, the lower are the returns to the shareholders. Now, CEOs, on the other hand, tend to be a bit more open to change and gain more returns. In fact, the average S&P 500 CEO tenure length has fallen to 5 years and is consistent with this. So let's think about that for a second. Stale in the saddle. What are you doing individually as a human being to be more hungry than you were last year? Can you say that? Are you hungrier this year than you were last year? Are you doing things like practicing gratitude? And we all know that's a fundamental. And in fact, Janine Alice reinforced this when I interviewed her, because she just recently went through Survivor. Take all of your food, all of your comfortable housing, all of the things that pad us as human beings. They took that all away from her. She's now on Survivor. She has to do all these crazy, strenuous tasks, malnourished and really stressful. And what she said was she had to practice gratitude. She had to practice gratitude, meaning that she had to implement it as part of her daily ritual. And if she wasn't implementing it as part of her daily ritual, then things just didn't go as well. And so to make sure that you avoid problem number 1, which is growing stale in the saddle, you have to implement an attitude of gratitude. And you have to write it into your schedule. You have to be present with the gratitude, and you have to spend time giving gratitude to the things you're grateful for. Because let's face it, we're very lucky. Right? In spite of COVID, in spite of all these things that's going on in the world, we are so lucky to be alive. And the more we focus on that, and the more we focus on being grateful for being in a position where we can actually do things like watch this video, watch this podcast, go on social media. The whole world's not connected to the internet, guys. Let's get this in perspective. The whole world is not connected to the internet. There's still a great population that is living on less than $1 a day in extreme poverty out there in the world. So before you complain about your situation, remember that there are people that are much worse than you. That would be actually it'd be offensive if you were to complain in front of those people. It would be like I would bring into question your character if you were going to start complaining in front of those people. I would say, you know what, this person, let's get rid of them, right? Because the attitude is incorrect. So don't neglect that. It's very important, and we see it all the time in what we do in our line of work. You have to be grateful for what you have. Let's move on to number 2. Response to stress and success. So let's think about this, your response to stress and success. So listen to this. Staff started noticing the falling number of meetings and weaker strategic signals coming from the top management team. Many political fiefdoms began to spring up, and some people worried they were being left out of whatever was now happening at the top. Eventually, the CEO's position became unsustainable and he resigned. So what's happening there? Whilst I do not advocate that a business become democracy, that's a bad idea. What we need to do is make sure that people feel included in our decisions. Make sure that the team feels included in what's going on in the strategic direction, so that it's not just task management. So if you're getting someone to dig a swimming pool for you, you don't walk outside every day and you're on a fixed deadline and you've got a time scale to hit. You don't hire someone to say, hey, I just need you to dig a hole. I need you to dig a hole by this amount of parameters. Just get to digging. This amount of depth, just get to digging, right? You don't do that. You give them the end goal. You give them the dream. Look, I want to build a pool here. So making sure that you dig by this parameter is really important, because that's what we have in terms of the water supply that's going to come in. This is the size that we're legally allowed to be bound by. So your work is really helpful in us seeing our dream together. So including people back into that vision is really important. Otherwise, you'll leave people on the outside. You'll leave people frustrated. You'll leave people isolated. The gossip will go up. The rumors will go up. Why? Because that's the easy road. It's way easy to gossip about someone if you don't really have the key insight into their life. If you're detached from them at an arm's length, so much easier to gossip and backstab. But if you bring your people into the fold, if you help them be part of your community, if you help them understand their importance as a human being, as an individual, then your life as a CEO will be much easier. I guarantee it. Number 3, top management team problems. So mostly what I've spoken about above, the top management team largely fell apart because its members felt their status and relevance to the diminished in the front of the heroic CEO. Top management teams can also undermine CEOs despite their best efforts to keep them together. Think about this. A top management team that works well is aligned on goals, shares information, and makes joint decisions. Fragmentation arises when top management teams or senior leadership team, whatever you want to call them, executive management teams, are misaligned. Intergroup hostility grows and formal structures start to break down. Top management teams can sway in the opposite direction, falling victim to groupthink, withholding crucial information from CEOs, and undermining their ability to make good decisions. What does that mean? The further you keep people away from you, again, I said it is easier for them to gossip about you, talk about you, backstab you. And I've seen many of these situations where the board of directors and also the senior leadership team are backstabbing the CEO. They're getting stabbed in the front by the board and they're getting stabbed in the back by the executive management team. And that is a dangerous position for you to be in as a CEO. Very dangerous position. So how do we remedy this? Now, again, it is bringing people into the fold. It's bringing people along with you on the vision. It's making them feel important. It's making them feel that your values and their values are aligned. It's letting them know that you are on the ball. You are on the money. You know exactly what's going on in the business, and they're there and they have a future with your business. So listen to this again. Fragmentation arises when senior management teams are misaligned. So if people don't feel like they're working in cohesion toward a unified goal, intergroup hostility grows and formal structures start to break down. So very important you get this right. Make sure that you align your team effectively around a goal, around a common objective, and make sure you have a strong plan in place. I can't emphasize that enough. You've got to have a very strong plan for your business. Number 4, poor performance. So, of course, we cannot rule out the poor performance of the top executives themselves. This usually is characterized by an inability to respond to changing economy, digitization, competition, and evolving customer demands. From Blockbuster to Kodak, stories abound of corporate inertia. It is in the CEO's job to inspire their team with a vision and simultaneously read the landscape to capitalize on emerging trends. While this is a necessary condition, it is not sufficient. Recent studies suggest that teams also need to buy into the new narrative. In 2000, Netflix proposed a partnership with Blockbuster in which it would run Blockbuster's brand online, and Blockbuster would promote Netflix in stores. John Antioso, I think that's how you pronounce the name. Sorry if you're watching this and it's not. The CEO of Blockbuster at the time didn't bite. We all know what happens next. So, poor performance. Again, I mentioned Are you hungrier this year than you were last year? If you are, then you'll be able to respond to the changing economy. You're going to have your finger on the pulse. You're going to understand what's happening in your industry. You're going to understand what's happening in the competitive landscape. You're going to be on top of it. You're going to be seeing strategically. You're going to be seeing things align, right? I see so many CEOs falling back into their position, becoming inwardly focused as an organization, spending all their time in meetings. No, a CEO's job is to be out in the marketplace, understand what's going on in the competitive landscape, understand what's happening from a government and policy perspective, keeping a strategic focus on the business so that they can pivot on a dime. I hear this all the time and I implement it all the time. How do you build an organization that can pivot on a dime? You could hear a piece of information, get a good idea in the business, and then pivot on a dime. Businesses that are able to do this are sustainable, they're much more predictable, and they can continue to scale. Companies that don't have these features will end up going backwards, and in the case of our friends at Blockbuster and Kodak, unfortunately, they'll go bankrupt. Number 5. Now, this one is dear to my heart, and I mean, I think I've said that about a couple of them, but this one is really dear to my heart, really dear to my heart. Why? Because part of what I do is fix up boards, right? So, I mean, this one I'm a bit biased to. But number 5, inadequate board vigilance. Ooh, this one is probably my favorite. Listen to this. Boards add value when they're vigilant. According to a 2007 study, board vigilance made a difference to shareholder return on mergers and acquisitions, irrespective of the length of CEO's tenure. This is significant, as most mergers do not realize their intended benefit nor value. Actually, 80% of mergers fail. They just are unable to extract the value that they perceive from the merger. Big issue. Mergers have led to the undoing of many CEOs. Boards can shift the balance of power in a firm and temper CEO hubris. They can also coach their CEO. And I was speaking to a board member the other day. He didn't even know that boards were supposed to coach their CEO. By reading market change signals and tapping their invaluable networks and resources. CEOs should not ignore them, and boards should not be shy about guiding their CEO. Great boards, and most boards end up just becoming a financial literacy accounting practice. They just look at the numbers and they go, okay, what's going on? And that's pretty much all they do, right? A great board will get down and personal with their CEO and coach them and say, hey, I noticed a limiting belief there. Well, tell me more about that. When did that begin? Well, hey, I noticed a negative mindset with you. What's actually going on from this capacity? So board vigilance is really important. So making sure that you capture the notes as a board, making sure that you have matters outstanding, making sure that you have matters arising, making sure that within your board sessions that you actually make decisions, because otherwise, what's the point of a meeting if there's not going to be actions and decisions being made? There's no point in meetings unless that happens. If it's just which is what most boards do, they end up just looking at retrospective lagging indicators. Well, what's the revenue look like? But they don't look at the leading indicators. Well, what are the things that we need to do in place in order to make sure that that revenue is there? So making sure that you have board vigilance as a CEO, really important. If you don't have a board, set up an advisory board. It's really important. You can reach out to myself if you need some help with that, but very important to do. And finally, number 6. Ooh, I've seen some companies break down on the back of this. Number 6, scandal. Wrongdoing is now more easily exposed and more companies are getting into trouble. Scandals could arise because of non-conformity to expectations. Let's look at Volkswagen, for instance. Financial irregularities or mis-selling, like Wells Fargo. Social misconduct, ethical lapses or corruption. Former BP CEO Tony Hayward was felled by the Deepwater Horizon oil spill after being widely criticized for his handling of it. The famous line, "I want my life back," did little to assuage those who lost their livelihoods as a result of the spill. People got fired. Heads rolled when that oil spill happened. Sometimes it's just bad luck. Take Doug Oberleman. I probably said that wrong, but hey, that's life. The CEO of Caterpillar from 2010 to 2016. He made a big bet on the demand for construction equipment just before the market peaked in 2012. So he saw the market peaking Lots of construction going. There's going to be a demand here. Let's invest. Let's invest. That's a job of a CEO, to capitalize on opportunity, right? Oberhelman spent billions. Oberhelman, is that right? Let me know in the comments if it's not, for those of you who are really good at reading things and English. Spent billions on manufacturing capability and conducted some of the company's biggest ever acquisitions before rapidly turning around and trying to cut jobs and reduce capacity as the market slumped. He turned left when he should have turned right. Turned left when he should have turned right. He saw the trends that construction was about to boom, but he didn't see the greater financial trends that were happening in the market. It is incumbent on CEOs, their boards, and top management teams to keep in mind that companies can be hit by both internal and external shocks. This means that CEOs operate in the context beyond their control oftentimes. Their success rests not only in themselves, but also in those around them. And you hear me say basically in every interview that your network is your net worth, because you need great people around you as a CEO. You cannot do this on your own. You should not do this on your own. And CEOs are very stressed out individuals because they're always busy, 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 busy. CEO shouldn't be busy. If you're a CEO, you should not be busy at all. You should be productive. You should be focused on that which is going to generate best return for you. It's about vigilance. It's about making sure that what's in your calendar is the stuff that really should be in there, and blocking out all the noise that's going to come up. Do you know how many meetings I have to turn down, unfortunately? Do you know how many people I let down on a day-to-day basis? I mean, I let down people all the time. That, hey, Oscar, can you look at this? Can you do this for me? I need this help. Can you do this? Can you do that? I need this by this. Like, I just can't. I can't do all of the things that all of the people want me to do, especially when I've got people, and I won't name names here, on social media that like to just kind of like try to kick you. You know, you've been in the comment section. You know what the social media is like. That's why I stay off of it as much as possible. So on top of all the stuff that you've got to do and all the people that I'm letting down anyway, you've got those people that just give this guy a little kick. But hey, like Jillian Michael said, when you climb the ladder of success, there's going to be people that come and try to bite your ankles from below. That's just life. Got to learn to deal with these things. Got to learn to be focused. Got to learn to be vigilant on the things that are going to make progress in your life, that are going to make you successful, that are going to help you achieve your potential. Because at the end of the day, you're not accountable to anyone but yourself to unlock your own potential. Really important stuff, guys. I've enjoyed my time with you. I really have. Like, comment, and share. I found out actually that this video could be a bit longer than the last one, so I was able to just extend this video. So like, comment, and share. I would appreciate it. It would help me a lot. It would help you a lot as well, just to keep abreast of the great content that I'm putting out, because I'm putting content out there that really not many people are putting out. I want to put out stuff out there that's going to be thought-provoking, it's going to be insightful, it's going to help you make a decision that can change your life. So do me a favor, in this video, implement one of the things I said and watch your life change. I promise you. Because it's not about all the knowledge that you have, it's about what you implement. Genius or success or the highest level of potential is the unordinary application of ordinary knowledge. The extraordinary application of ordinary knowledge. There are no secrets, guys. It's all out there. You can read whatever, how many books, how many podcasts, how many videos. It's all out there. It's about you applying it and transforming yourself from the inside out into becoming the person you were meant to be. Take care. Bye.